Yep.
Yep.
Let's do this.
We are
All
on.
right. You come back from your investigations in the depressing husk of a town of Herkstag. You've learned a great deal of the events there, piecing them together, so running them through your head. Scenes of the abandoned houses, the tombstones marked with the names and way too young ages of the victims of these foul murders that have happened there. And you're tired, that's for sure, because it is the wee hours of the morning when you return to Lepidstadt, and the carriage rocks you gently to sleep, and you kind of jolt awake when the carriage comes to a stop, and you finally are home for the night. You make your way to your bed, fall into it, fall asleep immediately, and don't wake up till the next morning. Early in the morning, I believe that Emaírel has some errands to do, so he's probably the first one who rises to make sure that he has enough time before the trial. But all of you have enough time to get properly rested if you choose to stay in for until roughly just before you need to leave for the trial. Anything else you need to do, or is it just Emaírel? Okay, so it's just Emaírel.
Evelyn just wants to make sure she would have a few minutes to speak with the beast before the start of the trial. That's all.
A few minutes shall be. Shouldn't be a problem. Emaírel, if you want to get up a little bit earlier, I'll need a fortitude save.
Okay.
Okay. Were you already affected from the night before? I'm sorry, I didn't make a note of that.
He was, but then he removed it with the restoration. And
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you feel rested enough. Of course, there's the all the sights and the experiences you had kind of take their toll, but doesn't have any mechanical impact. You were writing about the items that you wanted to get. I have to admit I didn't. I don't remember what they were. All right, somebody to cast Restoration on him, and a Darkwood Shield. Okay. So you have just 2 hours before the trial begins, and I would assume that you want to be on time.
Yep.
Okay, so let's see if you can find the shield in time. 75% chance. And unfortunately, Darkwood, of course, is a very specific sort of material, and you find plenty of shields, even magic shields, if you wanted to spend that much money. But Darkwood would take some more research to find. You're certain that it's available somewhere in Lepidstadt, but not on such short notice. However, finding somebody to cast Restoration is just a matter of making your way over to the Cathedral of Pharasma, where one of the higher-ranking priests will, of course, be willing to cast that spell for the usual donation. I would assume you don't need the level drain.
No, just 100 diamond.
Okay, so then that's 100 gold pieces plus the usual cost for spellcasting.
I did the math for minimum level caster.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so it'll be a total of 380. 280 plus the 100.
Okay. And I don't think we need any rolls. It's just healed, right? Yep. From a single ability score. Okay.
There is something Geier would like to do in the morning while
Okay.
Earl is shopping.
Mhm.
He would like to try and, keep an ear out, maybe poke around and see if there's anyone that has sympathy for the beast.
Okay. Yeah, but that will require you to also get up early, so I'll need a fortitude save from you.
Yep. Right away.
And are you still affected from the night before?
No, we got that removed at the
All
beginning.
of you did.
last
Okay.
game. Yeah, we got that. We got wand.
All right. But bags are forming under your eyes. Not that you didn't already look tired enough and exhausted before, but now you also feel that way. But other than being fatigued, that doesn't mean anything for your daily spells or anything. You do regain those powers. It's just that you're being fatigued for the next time. And so you head to the courthouse early, mingle with the crowd that's already waiting outside, scattered around the punishing man, and that is some of them waiting to be allowed into the courthouse, while others are just planning on staying out here. Probably just some of them maybe even performing some business, selling things to the audience of the courthouse. And give me a diplomacy check.
Oh, man.
Okay. And perception.
Oh, sorry, that was Geier.
Yeah. Okay. So you're trying to get people to talk to you, but with everything that's been going on, the people of Lepidstadt are pretty rude to strangers, and especially strange-looking strangers like Geier, it appears.
Yeah, I'm not very appealing in the morning.
Yeah, and even though he kind of speaks, or he may have the local dialect down since he pretty much grew up here, he doesn't get anyone to, really speak their mind. You do get the general sense that people, of course, despise the beast, and they want
to know the ghoul of Grave Charge and are not very forthcoming with me.
That may also be true. They're more afraid than willing to talk to you. Either way, you're not getting a lot out of this. However, you do spot the colorful painted wagons of the Crooked Kin that have set up their sideshow, on the side of the main square with the punishing man at its center, and that are entertaining the onlookers and kind of playing into their a lot of them just like the feel of getting scared with the beast being around and everything, so they are really playing up the monstrosities of their crew. Yeah.
Do I have time to approach them? Say hi?
Sure, yeah. You approach them. Your vulture, of course, gets very excited as he sees people he knows. And Caleb is very, very happy to see you, and he says, "Oh, my good friend Geier, have you also come to witness the spectacle that is awaiting Lepidstadt?"
Ah, yes, Herr Hesse. I see. It's good to see you here as well. Shame on the
Yes,
show
yes.
they're putting if they only had the quality of your spectacle.
Of course, the crooked kitten are everywhere where there is a crowd of people to be entertained.
I just wish it were enough, and they didn't seek entertainment in taking the life of an innocent creature. But what can you
Innocent.
do?
The beast.
Sure.
If you think the beast is innocent, I think you may be very alone with that opinion, my dear friend.
Exactly, and that's the point, isn't it? You should know quite well that opinion is not equal to truth. And many times, those that don't fit the certain looks of the people, well, they seem to be a bit blamed.
Well, I know, of course, it's about that, but I mean, the beast. It's brutal. Beast feralness is almost legendary.
Geier looks around, see if he's being watched, and goes like, "Listen, we've been investigating, and we've not found any evidence of the beast's guilt. Yet they seem determined to hide him. Now, I don't have time to explain to you every case or every locale we have seen, but I can assure you there is absolutely nothing that incriminates the beast, at least not for the crimes he's being accused of."
Are you investigating? Are you with that what's her name? There's a lady that is
Oh, yes.
speaking up in court for the beast. Are you with her?
Lady Evelyn, exactly.
Huh. Oh, so she is the lady that was with you when you know.
A resourceful woman. Not
Indeed.
many aristocrats would venture out like that.
Yeah, I didn't recognize her from the description that people are giving of her. Well, she's not very popular around here. I guess people feel like she's just manipulating the judges, and there's even
Well, I fear
there's a
it's not
nasty
enough to-
rumor around. They're saying she has a dark secret.
Oh, don't we all? But I fear her manipulations may not be enough to sway the people. So I was thinking, when are you planning on leaving town?
Leaving? Well, he makes a sweeping gesture to the crowds of people, and he says, "Look at that! There's why wouldn't we leave this whatever this is?"
I may have a proposition for you, something a bit unorthodox, but might benefit you in the long run.
I'm listening.
If things don't go the way we would hope, and an innocent creature gets condemned to suffer at that horrible apparatus hanging there, well, perhaps we can find another solution and find you a new member to your troop.
I don't understand.
We spirit the beast away with you. I'm sure he would be attraction for the masses wherever you travel. Perhaps not here, but
Don't you think that even among my troop, the beast of Lepidstadt would stand out?
oh, absolutely. And won't that be fantastic?
And have you even? I mean, and have you even considered that maybe the beast wouldn't want to join a troop? I mean, it's not like I'm not dabbling in slaves.
Oh, absolutely not. But perhaps it's a better life for him. At least think about it.
I'll think about it, but I think I know how I feel about this guy. I'm sorry. I'm really in debt to you, but you can't expect me to take on an enemy of the people.
Absolutely not.
It'll be
All
a
I
moving
ask is you
target.
think about it. And when you see how people can behave like monsters, well, Maybe that changes your opinion, but I will not hold it against you if it doesn't. That I can
Okay.
assure you.
I'll think about it. That's the least I can do for you.
Okay, well, I wish you much success. I do have to get going.
Thank you. Have a good day. Come and see, behold there, and he launches into his ringmaster speech. All right. While Geier is negotiating or just talking with Caleb, Evelyn makes her way to the courthouse as well, and being part of the defense, she of course is allowed to talk to the beast, which is just as brooding, moody as it was the day before and the day before that, and it just sits there in its dimly lit cage, its back turned towards Evelyn as she comes in, barely moving. It says, "Yes, lady."
And a good morning to you.
Morning. Is it?
The sun has risen. Its searing light is pouring in through those bars over there. Surely you've noticed. That means that it is the second day of your trials, during which I will endeavor once again to prove your innocence to the judges and the people of this city, so much as they're willing to listen to reason. And towards that aim, I have two things I'd like to ask of you today. First of all, this is, as you may recall, the day in which we will be reviewing the events of Hergstag.
Hergstag.
Yes, indeed. And I know that Hergstag and the events that happened there and the people that you know from there strike an emotional chord with you. However, I must ask that whatever happens, you maintain control of your rage.
I can't help it sometimes. I just get angry.
I know you do. I can sense that in you, that you have something, some urge which is near unquellable. And I'm no stranger to urges myself. But sometimes, in order to keep living the lives we'd like to lead, we have to learn to put those urges aside. Now, I'm going to do my best to exonerate you today. I want you to walk out of here as a free being. And I also want to put the true perpetrator, I want to bring him to light. We did find the creature responsible for the murder of the children in Hergstag, but I cannot convince the people of the court and of this city of the truth unless you cooperate.
Oh, you found him? You found the ghost that killed my Elsa?
We did, and we laid him to rest already. Vengeance has been done for her. Take whatever comfort you can in that knowledge. Know that whatever else happens today, that injustice has already been settled.
And you can sense that the beast is torn between its anger and grief and a little bit of maybe relief or vengeance fulfilled. Hard to tell. But it's You can tell that it's trying its best to keep its composure and restrain itself. But it's like a bubbling volcano.
Very good. Now, the other thing that I have to ask you is about Elsa.
Elsa?
Yes. You said that you were friends with her, that you would spend time together. What was it that you would do during that time?
We would play. She would read to me.
And what was it she would read?
Words of beauty.
Do you remember any of them?
I have words I remember. I can't pull them out of my head.
By that, do you mean you cannot remember them and speak them, or that they are stuck in your head?
Yes. It's like they're in my mouth, but I can't spit them out. I forgot so much about my Elsa.
Well, I think that when the time comes, you will find the words that you're looking for. Well, very good.
The time has come for the defendant to step forth as one of the doors opens and the courthouse guards enter to lead the beast on its march through the courthouse towards the main courtroom.
Before we start, can Arronax actually bring some refreshments to our newly minted attorney?
Sure. Yeah. I don't see how that
More
would be.
specifically, yeah.
That would, of course, most likely be noticed by
Would that be
the.
noticed?
But I mean, that's magic, so it would
It
definitely
has
register.
influence. Okay, then
Hmm?
I suppose we will refrain from antagonizing the court.
Okay. So, anything else you want to do before we get started? Or
Well-
should we assume that you all meet at the courthouse
Well,
or
Arronax,
in the courtroom?
Geier would like to let the rest of the people know that he spotted the caravan outside, and who knows? Maybe we have an exit strategy.
yeah, and unfortunately, Arronax needs quite a bit of time to prepare his mutagen and his extracts. So he basically spends all the time at home and gets right back to the court just in the nick of time.
Okay.
And we will, of course, submit the bodies of the children as evidence.
Sure.
And also I'll submit the poetry book.
Hmm.
And we wanted to petition to use Zone of Truth and Speak with Dead, I believe, spells, right?
Yeah, I think we determined that Speak with Dead wouldn't be viable, but I don't know if they will. I don't know if they'll just cast Zone of Truth on us or not, but we'll see.
Okay. Ready?
Oh, let's go for it.
All right. If anything, the crowd is larger today than it was yesterday, and it's alive with talk of yesterday's events. The clerks arrive early to prepare the courtroom, and as time approaches 10 a.m., the other members of the court arrive. Today's trial and today's proceedings whip the crowd into a frenzy with every allegation. And Otto Heiger knows very well how emotional something like child murder is, and he very, very professionally and competently uses that to his advantage. As the beast is led in into the room, the first voices from the audience can be heard, "Child murderer!" and other things like that. And it takes Chief Justice Cart a couple of bangs with his gavel to call the audience to order and ask the prosecution to outline the details of the alleged events in Herkstag, which Heiger then proceeds to do. He talks about the events pretty much gives pretty much the same account that you learned from the three sisters that used to live in Herkstag, but he really drives home the point that all of them were kids with their whole entire lives in front of them, yanked out of the most precious age, and their life brought to a short end by the cruel beast. And in his questions, when he starts calling the witnesses for the prosecution, he asked the three sisters to recount what he basically had already said, and he asked them again and again. He asked them to describe the personalities of each of the children in greater detail. Give me a sense motive check, everyone.
Wow.
Huh.
Apparently, Arronax
Okay.
took a swig of that Tears to wine stuff before, after all.
Maybe. So yeah, Evelyn is of course focusing on her own defense and doesn't really listen to the sort of manipulative ramblings of the prosecution. The doctor, however, notices that even though he goes into great detail of each and every victim, he skips Elsa. Doesn't ask anything about Elsa. Doesn't even mention her name. Only talks about the number of kids, like the 6 children, and then names them, some of them, but not Elsa. Anyway, the witnesses are then at around 12:30. It's the defense's turn to call witnesses.
One second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Elsa is kind of on Evelyn's mind as she reads this note that Arronax passes to her, and she stands up and says, "Your Honors, we have no witnesses to submit aside from the defendant himself, and we also wish to request a cross-examination of the prosecution's witnesses."
Go ahead.
So basically, Evelyn is going to ask them about the 6th child, the one that the prosecution neglected to mention before. Can you please describe her in any detail?
Okay. And they start describing her and her character and what a lovely child she was, and so friendly. And as she does so, the beast that has been sitting in its cage this entire time, sort of like a seemingly completely undisturbed by what was going on, it starts to grimace, and soon some of the some of the people in the crowd go, "Look at the beast! It is laughing at them! It's murders!" And it's like shock and awe that spreads in the audience. This is a brutal murder.
Evelyn looks at the crowd somewhat incredulously. She goes, "Do you not recognize a grimace of pain and suffering when you see one?"
Geier has a kind of like an "I told you so" kind of face.
Evelyn, give me an diplomacy check.
She says, "Anyone who is truly lost something or someone that means something to them will know that look for what it is."
And she points out the tears that are barely visible, as the beast hardly is able to produce tears, but there's some liquid oozing out of its eyes, and then the beast finally sobs, and it quietly groans, "Elsa!" And the shocked screams from the audience turn into surprised, hushed whispers until once again the Chief Justice has to call everyone to order. Okay. Yeah, so you feel like you made a very impressive point with this.
Okay, so Evelyn is she allowed to reach through the bars and touch the defendant?
Yeah.
Okay, she'll do so, and she'll kind of just rest a hand on his shoulder for a second to give him a little comfort, and then she'll continue her cross-examination.
Of course, even though it's allowed, some people in the audience going, "She touched the beast! The witch!"
So Evelyn approaches the others, the three sisters, and she says, "Did Elsa have any particular hobbies that you recall, or things that she especially enjoyed doing?"
We always used to say little Elsa has her head in the clouds and her nose in the books.
Any particular books?
Well, everything she could get a hold of, really. I always saw her with a little booklet of some sort in her hands. She was a bright young child.
At this point, Evelyn will submit the booklet as evidence and say, "Is this the booklet that she used to carry?"
Oh, it's burnt. I couldn't really say.
Indeed, it was pulled from the rubble that used to be her home.
Well, then I guess it maybe.
Good enough.
Oh shit! I forgot the bodies.
we brought them. Already submitted. Okay, and she'll say, "Now, can you recall for the court what happened with the children after they were slain? What happened to their remains?"
Those poor kids their bodies just disappeared. Nowhere to be found.
Disappeared, nowhere to be found.
Hmm.
So they were not returned to their parents and interred properly in the graveyard. We did travel to Herkstag, as you may have gathered, yesterday, and found their tombstones amongst the others.
Yes, well, of course we had a funeral for the parents to get some closure, but there was nothing to bury. Oh, Stahl, that's not entirely true, one of the sisters says. You remember very well that we buried both Karen and Elsa.
Indeed, Karen and Elsa were buried because their bodies were present for burial. One of them was left behind, dead, with not a mark on her body, after the beast was already driven from the premises of your town. The other you only have because the beast brought her remains back to her family for proper burial.
Well, the audacity of the beast to bring its victim back as like a trophy and shove it in our faces, that's just...
Not a victim. Not a victim, a friend. A compatriot, a kindred soul.
Just don't,
who shared with the beast her love for poetry, her love for books. And she will take the book and she will read the first few lines of the poem. We rest. A dream has power to poison sleep. And she looks to the beast.
And the beast, for the first time, kind of lifts its head, looks at Evelyn, and it says,
We rise. One wandering thought pollutes the day. We feel, conceive or reason, laugh or weep, embrace fond woe, or cast our cares away. It is the same, for, be it joy or sorrow, the path of its departure still is free. Man's yesterday may ne'er be like his morrow. Naught may endure but mutability.
and then he grimaces again, apparently crying some more. Some of the people in the audience are moved by this. Some are just upset that a grotesque beast like this would cite poetry in a court of law. We'll need some diplomacy rolls from Evelyn, and in fact a total of 3. So let's start with the point that the beast brought Elsa's body back, but not the others. Very well. Okay, let me take a note of this. Then the next one is that you made the point that Karen died after the beast fled, so I will need to check for that too. Wow. And now one for making the beast remember the poetry and stressing the connection to Elsa.
Ah, come on.
No, don't worry, there are modifiers in place that you don't necessarily know about. Okay. Okay, so you feel like you're sort of on a run here, that this is really starting to sway some people in the audience. But there are other voices of disgust that are still, and other faces that you can see in the audience that are still disgusted by the beast and its actions. And it's impossible to tell how the judges feel, because their professional, stony demeanor gives you nothing about what they are thinking.
Your Honors, I have no further questions for these 3 women, and I do thank you for coming forward to present the truth as best as you can.
Yep, and they leave the witness stand.
I do, however, have 4 additional pieces of evidence to submit, and she motions to Dr. Arronax.
Is this the part when we unveil the remains of the victims?
She nods.
In this case, Arronax will raise up and I suppose we submitted them, right? To the court, so he will.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, so he will ask to bring the evidence, this
Yeah.
and that.
And a table is rolled into the room. The remains are respectfully spread out on it, marked with little labels.
And Arronax will try with clear voice say, "Ladies and gentlemen, and variations of thereupon, please allow me to present the victims of this horrible tragedy."
No, again, gasps go through the audience.
Shock.
Yeah.
That's a sacrilege. Poor children. Rest with peace.
In
And where have those bodies been found? The Chief Justice asks.
These bodies were located in a barrow near the village. A barrow that contained an evil spirit that, without a doubt, slayed them in the first place.
That evil spirit, not
and nods. Thank you, Doctor.
And Arronax feels quite relieved that Evelyn takes it back away from him, so he will sit down.
She
How do
says,
you know that an evil spirit slayed these children? The Justice asks.
Your Honors, with all respect, I wish to lay out the offense in a digestible fashion, chronologically, rather than jumping from one point to another. I will
Very well.
indeed answer your question as best as I can, though. We disinterred these 4 bodies, which the doctor of Lepidstad University has positively identified as 4 children. As he said, we found them not in their graves, though their tombstones marked the place where they should be. We found them in a hill outside of town. We brought them here as evidence, and in the hopes that they can be properly interred and given their rights so that they may be allowed to rest as these poor souls should. However, they were not allowed to rest, as the tales, and as our witnesses, I'm sure, elucidated. For after they were slain, the spirits of these children returned to their homes as ghosts, as poltergeists, some might even say, bent on doing harm and havoc. And as the prosecution pointed out, these children were all sweet, innocent, devoid of malice in life, yet in death they sought only to do harm. This is not because they sought vengeance on anyone in the town or upon the beast, but because they were under the control of another spirit, a wraith. This wraith we found inhabiting the hill outside of town. We sussed it out of its hiding place. We did battle with it ourselves and slew it.
Audible gasp.
Surprised gasps from the audience.
Now, have to ask as an aside. Can we ask the Pharasman priest to give testimony, or does she have to remain completely impartial out of the trial?
She's only there as an observer. So, but I mean, do you want to ask her about anything about wraiths or what?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so you want some of her expertise, not as.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be accepted. Yeah. So if you petition for that, I'm sure that would be granted.
Your Honors, I would wish to petition you for access to the expertise of our own Pharasman priest here, who is well versed, I believe, in the various evils of undead.
Very well. You may speak to the Holy Sister of Justice herself.
Holy Sister, do you know much about wraiths?
I know the teachings of the Church.
Do you know what they do to their victims?
They are evil spirits that feast on the living. They drain them of their life's essence, and once they have squeezed every little bit of life out of them, they turn them into spawns under their command. A terrible fate that awaits their victims.
Spawns, you say? And what might a wraith do with these spawns once it has them under its command?
Indeed, a difficult question to answer. Wraiths are driven by malice and evil, and as such, they would certainly use their spawns to lure even more living into a trap of their device, and so they can feast on even more victims, and thus grow their army of spawns.
Which would explain how a total of 6 children, 6, were able to be kidnapped from this town and murdered. Their spirits stripped from their bodies, as Karen's was. My lady, would you be willing to describe what happens to the body of a wraith victim? What state it is left in?
It is essentially only a husk, an empty vessel of a human, entirely inanimate, pale, without life, just matter.
I believe this does correspond with the description of Karen's remains, which the sisters submitted earlier during their testimony.
It does.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we did indeed fight a wraith, not just anyone, but a specific one who gave us his name. It may be absurd, the tale which we tell when we tell you that we slew none other than Brother Swarm.
There's a mix of gasps and laughter in the audience, and someone yells, "You didn't kill a wraith! You killed a boogeyman!" Order! The Chief Justice says. My dear lady, this is a tall tale that you are putting up here. I assume that you're willing to repeat this under a divination spell in private later on.
I would be more than happy to, Your Honors.
In that case,
No, very well. Continue.
In that case, I believe you have made your point quite eloquently. Are there any more witnesses you would like to call or evidence you wish to present?
She will turn to the others just quickly to make sure she's not missing anything.
Nope.
The bodies were it.
In that case, the court will adjourn until tomorrow, when we will hold the last day of the trial, and we will deal with the events of Sanctuary, and we will also reach our final verdict. And with that, he gets up, and joined by his fellow justices, he leaves. Alright, first, I'm going to need another diplomacy check from Lady Evelyn.
For what?
Just for a number of things that we were...
Can I get assistance from Arronax?
Yes, definitely.
Are you sure you want it?
I mean, it can't hurt.
That's true. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that.
Oh,
Jesus.
Okay. Mhm. Nice work. So, as the justices leave the room, the audience erupts in chatter and shouts, and some of them angry, some of them just confused. There's anger directed towards the beast, which some of them still call a child murderer. There's a surprising amount of anger directed towards Lady Evelyn, too, who's like, she's manipulating the justices, she's just, pulling this out of thin air, and the story of Brother Swarm, of course, circulates, and like, do you really think that was Brother Swarm and causes a lot of controversy among the audience. But there is a very, very significant part, that good chunk, maybe it warrants a sense motive check first. Anyone can do that. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So, Evelyn, you read the crowd well enough to realize that there's a significant, dangerously large chunk of the crowd that is unhappy with the way things are going, and that you even overhear some talk about cutting the trial short, and people wishing to take matters into their own hand. And there are some voices of reason that are like, no, we'll wait, what happens tomorrow? And then others are like, no, why do we wait? We know it's guilty. But eventually, everyone clears the courtroom, and you are left behind alone.
Say, Evelyn, you are getting quite a reputation both in and out of the court. I think I like you better.
Yeah, boss. What can I say? I think this day went better for us than previous one. Hopefully the citizens won't take justice in their hands until we're done with it.
Well, it certainly helps to have some solid evidence on our side instead of, shall we say, making it up as we go.
Speaking of making up as we go along, we probably should take our leave and investigate the sanctuary.
I believe we shall be held first to give our testimony under the effects of the Zone of Truth spell.
That's right. That's very inconvenient. Speaking the truth, I suppose. But
Try.
All right. So, the court clerks, in the presence of the Holy Sister of Justice, confront you with all the statements you made during the trial in surprisingly a verbatim fashion. It's like they recorded each and every single word you said, going even as far as including annotations like short pause or and even the reactions of the crowd. But still, the whole thing doesn't take too long because they focus on the important bits, which is who killed the children and where you found the bodies, and just to make sure that everything you said in front of the court was indeed the truth. So it is not much later than 2:30 in the afternoon that you are free to leave the courthouse and maybe do some research on the next case.
Whew, being a lawyer is difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is why I devote myself to science.
So what do you want to do?
I think we'd want to check first with the Capel for any details that he has.
Okay. So you meet up with the couple, and first he congratulates you to the day in court and says, "I really think we swayed some hearts and minds today. Don't know about the judges though. They are possible to read. Anyway, we should probably focus on tomorrow, right?"
Right.
That's all we can do at this point.
So details. I'm sure you want the details. And he goes over his stack of files again and pulls one out. And he goes, "Oh yes, Carb Isle, also known as Sanctuary. Arson. In fact, the third crime is the beast is accused of is arson. They claim that it burnt down the asylum called Sanctuary on Carb Isle, which resulted in the deaths of the Sanctuary's administrator, Dr. Brada, and all of his patients, and also in the blinding of the doctor's assistant, Carl."
Mm-hmm. Another asylum.
Well, we do so well in those, you'd almost think we belong there.
Yeah.
What is it with asylum fires around here?
What do you mean?
Well,
Oh,
okay,
nothing.
Yeah, strictly speaking, Harrowstone wasn't exactly an asylum, but that is of no consequence for this matter. So please don't concern yourself.
I'm afraid I'm not following.
No need. Extraneous information, Mr. Koppel. Do we know who the prosecution will be submitting as witnesses?
I believe that will be Carl. The poor man lives in a small cottage by the river.
All right. And do we happen to know if they have any further evidence or anything else they're submitting aside from, I guess not eyewitness testimony, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and actually, by the time the events happened, Carl was still able to see it. The fire blinded him.
Well, he saw part of it at least.
And I suppose he couldn't afford the restoration of his sight with divine powers, right?
Apparently not. Some people are particular about that.
I see.
Geier will take Emaírel to the side and go, Emaírel, come here for a second. You know this city well. Perhaps you know other people. We need to have a plan in case things don't go the way we hope they will.
A plan to do
I don't
what
know.
exactly?
I mean, we can't. I'm afraid that regardless of the evidence, they will pass unfavorable judgment, and we can't just let him burn and suffer, can we? I don't know if during your studies here or research here, you perhaps made acquaintances or, got to know certain parts of the city or certain magics that might help us spare him away. Or at least where to set a fire that will distract people long enough to pull off this kind of heist.
Well, I can't think of anything yet.
Well, just think on it, because I'd be very cross if we have to watch that poor creature be burnt alive for these miserable folks' entertainment. And he steps back into the group. Just think on it. Oh, Geier is thinking, just being a bit pessimistic, but the idea of watching the beast burn is not very appealing. Doesn't hurt to have a backup plan. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, if you all are done with your little powwow over there, ought we not to go speak with Carl and see what he can tell us?
Yeah, let's do that.
I agree.
Look, gun. I will take care of that tomorrow's paperwork. Just let me know if you need to submit any additional evidence. This is a mess. Look, a long day, he says, and he moves to a slightly less organized pile of files. You make your way over to Carl's cottage, which is indeed a very humble hut, just big enough for one person to live in. Basically a bedroom, a small kitchen in a corner, and a table with some chairs around. Standing around it, when you knock, Carl opens, obviously blind, his eyes milky white. But he is quite friendly, almost surprisingly so. And he says, "Oh, I rarely get visitors. Please come in. Please, I don't look too closely. I would assume it's not very tidy. Could I offer you some bread? And I think I should have. Oh, please, I think I should have a bottle of wine somewhere."
Oh, that sounds absolutely lovely. I've been looking for someone with a bit of culture around here. A bottle of wine sounds quite fine.
Feels around the kitchen corner until he grabs something and goes, I think this is it. Or it's either the wine or the vinegar." And he starts pouring.
Allow
wine.
me. Yeah. Well, Arronax will get the chance to actually try to use his tears to wine extract to enhance the flavor, so to speak. If it's okay with him.
Sure. If you want to. I personally like my wine the way it is, but If you want to spice up yours, please go ahead. So, I assume you're here because of tomorrow's trial. I am very curious to see what's going to happen to the beast, I have to say.
If you guys want, you probably also can take a drop of the extract to your glass.
What was the extract?
Tears to wine, which transmutes any liquid into normal wine that makes you incredibly sharp-witted and clear-minded.
That's kind of like the opposite of wine. What wine tends to do, but all right.
Well,
Geier will have a swig.
Yep, that's an art of alchemy.
Yeah, Evelyn will have a sip of that. Wait, so did Carl get it too?
Well, he refused, apparently.
Yeah, he declined.
Oh, okay.
So, and Arronax basically takes like a small vial and with like 3 drops, tip.
So do we need to go over Herr Heigel's argument again? Do you need more from me?
Yes, we would love to start there, actually.
So you're trying to pretend like you're part of the prosecution?
Deception.
Okay, so
I mean, I didn't even realize that's what was happening. But he just suggested we start somewhere, and she's like, "Yeah,
yeah,
Sure.
because he was obviously assuming that you're with Geiger.
right."
He was saying, okay, so you're gonna play along. So give me a bluff check. Okay.
Yeah, bastards.
So he says, "Well, I think I already told your colleagues everything I know. What in particular would you like me to repeat?"
Well, we would like to hear again your recounting of the incidents leading up to the fire and the beast's involvement in doing so, of course. Just to review.
Well, there's not much to tell, really. We were working late at the asylum, as we usually did, and one night it just appeared. It broke into our building. It attacked us. It went straight for Brada and tried to kill him. And Brada fought back, and I tried to help, of course, and some lanterns were knocked over, and the oil got everywhere, and eventually, everything went up in flames, and I remember the last thing I saw before the flames took my eyesight. Shambling beast escaping the burning hospital. And I tried to save my dear master, but there was nothing I could do. Without my sight,
This
I...
Brada, what could you tell us of him? What kind of man was he?
Dr. Brada was... he was a good man. Yes, he was a very good man. He founded the institution to cure those unfortunate individuals that were afflicted with madness and physical deformity, you know. He had a tough time with his uncle, you see. His uncle was... He was burned by a mob because of features that the uneducated thought were monstrous. And I think he never quite got over that experience, witnessing the lynching of his uncle, and he tried to help others who were at the risk of having the same happen to them.
And was he very successful?
Well, It wasn't easy, I can tell you this. He worked very late every night, even sent me away sometimes, afraid that I would overwork myself, but poor doctor still kept going. I don't know how he did it. He poured all of his family money into this undertaking, and yeah, he was very determined to produce results, but alas, before we could really reach a breakthrough, everything went up in flames.
Emaírel is trying to figure out of how can a fire make someone go blind? Does he just have an idea?
Give me a heal check. You don't know. Maybe it was super bright, or maybe it cooked his eyeballs.
That's what I would bet on. Yeah, Arronax meanwhile will rub his chin and ask, well, before your unfortunate accident befallen upon you, did you catch any traits of the monster? Some sort of description?
Well, the
Did it
last image is burned into my memories, you might say. And he starts to describe the beast in terms that are different from what people generally use in the folktales to describe the beast. That is still kind of vague, it's just like taller than a man, monstrous features, a terrible visage, a powerful muscles, and so it's different. Oh, you give me a sense motive check.
Yeah, and Arronax also will try to ask a leading question if, did it bear any noticeable scars, like on its shoulder, for example?
Mhm.
And since motive +2, because we drank very very nice wine.
Okay, so you get the sense that he's definitely describing something from memory, so he did see something. But when you ask about the scars, he says, "Scars, I don't. It was just a mess of things, the body parts or pieces of skin stitched together. There were scars all over this thing."
Uh-huh. I see. Well, that was very helpful. Thank you.
Carl, can you imagine any reason why this beast would target you or the doctor to assault?
I don't know. Maybe it just wandered the area and wanted to do some destruction and mayhem. It's
So
the beast.
It
That's what it
seemed
does.
it seemed entirely random then.
Yes, it just burst into the room. Give me another sense motive check.
Yeah, Arronax is deep in thought.
Emaírel, you notice the tiniest of a pause before he continues. Went straight for the doctor, and the fight ensued.
Sorry, I didn't mean to roll Slay of Hand. My finger slipped.
The pause was before which part?
Before he said went straight for the doctor.
Okay, so okay.
I take it a 19 wasn't enough to catch that.
Oh, that goes on top of that? I thought that 17 was already
There's a
including
plus
the
2 on
bonus.
top.
Okay, no, that's you also noticed that, yes.
And you're absolutely sure that the beast had no other motives. Remember, it's essential that we get everything down exactly right. The defense has really been nailing us these last 2 days. We need to make sure that we catch every single detail and don't miss anything.
Give me another bluff. Well, you see, now that you're asking about it, I seem to recall that the doctor actually wasn't surprised when the beast appeared. He was panicking, but he wasn't surprised.
Outside of the asylum, did the doctor had any other place where he could conduct research in peace?
No, we lived in the asylum with the patients. That's where we had all of our equipment.
Did he
Little
have
will be
any-
left of that.
Did he have any visitors or acquaintances other than the people from the asylum?
There's
Compromise this investigation.
well, there's family members, of course. There's suppliers that deliver the various supplies we needed. There is law enforcement if some of our patients were in trouble with the law sometimes. You know, we're a hospital. There was, of course, lots of visitors.
Yes, of course.
I do have to say, Herr Karl, that you really seem to be in good spirits considering everything that's happened.
Well, it's been 4 months. I've went through my stages of grief for the poor doctor. And if you had known him, you would have known that he was always someone to push through, always kept going. No matter what life threw at him, he would always find a way to persevere. I'm just trying to honor him by doing the same.
And the morgue in the hospital. Did the doctor frequent the morgue, perchance?
The doctor frequent the morgue of the hospital? Well, he's the doctor.
Yeah. So, was he down at the morgue?
Yes, of course.
And were you down at the morgue as well?
Well, I am his assistant. Yes, in the unfortunate event that any of our patients would pass away under our care, that it was our duty to examine them posthumously.
In case they wake up afterwards?
What?
Huh?
No.
Never mind.
I'm sorry, Carl. I'm just trying to make sure that my notes are thorough and complete here. Where did you say that you and the doctor were before, when the beast attacked, rather? Was it in his study, you said?
No, I believe we were on our way to see some of our patients, crossing the foyer.
You entered, so he was in the hall.
Yes.
I see. And did you, I know that obviously any remains would have burned down, but did you see any evidence of how he had egressed into the building?
The beast just burst in through the main door.
Oh, that does sound like him.
Yeah.
And you did say that when he attacked in the commotion, some lanterns fell, and that's what caused the fire. It wasn't as if the beast came in with a torch and started lighting the place up.
I don't think the beast is really capable of such planned behavior. It's just a feral creature. It's like an animal.
I see. I see. And could you spell out the good doctor's name for me?
Brada.
Excellent. Okay. She kind of looks to everyone else.
I think.
Please have some more wine. I'm afraid I cannot tell when your glasses are running low.
Oh, that's quite all right. Have we any other questions for Carl?
I think so. I don't think so. And with 5 of us here with only 1 bottle, I think it's running dry already. So
Hmm.
Well, thank you so much for your hospitality,
indeed.
Carl.
Oh, you're very welcome. Say hello to Herr Heiger from me when you see him.
Shall
Oh,
be
will
sure to do so.
And I look forward to helping you tomorrow.
You've already helped us so much.
Indeed.
And thus you take your leave.
Mm-hmm.
Took about an hour or so we're looking at around 4-ish in the afternoon.
All right, I think we got to hurry up and get to the sanctuary then, figure out what the hell's going on.
Take a look. Maybe ask some spirits.
Did we ever ask the beast if he was there?
He just kept saying, didn't do it. I don't think he confirmed whether he was there or not. We might want to ask him that before we move out.
Okay, so you want to stop by the beast before you head out, and you learn nothing from the beast. It just says that it didn't do it, wasn't there, and has nothing to do with it.
Well, but
He says he
that's
wasn't
useful
there.
enough. Yeah.
That's
And you,
can we ask the beast if he knew the doctor?
he has no idea what any of this is about. So you man and woman the carriage and head out towards Sanctuary, which is just 3 miles north of Lippstadt, along the lesser Mutre River. Most of the journey is just a main road, and only the last stretch is on the last stretch it is necessary for you to follow a narrow track that follows the western shore of the river, passing through depressingly gray marshland before arriving at the ruins of Sanctuary on Carvile. Sad remains of broken building lie on a spur of land jutting into the river. The burnt timbers of a large house sag into the undergrowth of nettles and thistles. Nature is taking back this charred ruin, as if trying to erase dark memories. Nearby, a small cluster of gravestones jut from the weeds.
We don't see anything. At least I don't see anything.
Me either.
I was promised you would. Wait a second.
They lied to you.
Lies. Maybe I
I,
do. Oops. Maybe this works?
Yeah, this
Well,
works.
I see a picture now.
yeah,
Okay, yeah, that's good.
and a torch.
Yeah, ignore the torch. That's just there to give you some light.
And a dude hiding here. Sniper.
That's creepy. I didn't even notice that.
I did not either. There's not really somebody there, though, so...
But I still have the feeling I'm being
Yes,
watched.
exactly.
As
Some
if someone was
presence.
just here. Well, this looks like a mess.
Well,
I was hoping there would at least be like the burned out remains of a building.
well, I mean, there
Nope.
certainly remains of something.
Yeah, but you're kind of disappointedly stepping into the ruins of Sanctuary that are choked with fallen debris and just a pile of rubble.
Rubble and gravestones.
That's familiar territory for us by now.
Yeah, it's almost depressing in how familiar it is. Let's hope
I
the
mean, the
familiarity.
best kind of asylum is a burnt down asylum, if you ask me.
Yeah, let's hope that familiarity ends with this one and it is not infested to the brim with fucking haunts and skeletons. Pardon my French. It's been a long day. And probably wine loses my tongue a little bit.
And it's Galton, but not French.
Evelyn's gonna just start wandering the ruins, just trying to get any sense of what the layout of the place used to be.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, give me a perception check.
Back to this. Are we still getting boosted by the wine?
No, how long does it?
By this
only
point,
50
we've
minutes.
gone to the toilet.
How long?
It would work for about 50 minutes, so...
No, it's not enough. Because you had it at the beginning of the encounter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so Evelyn and Emaírel start pacing the ruins. I guess Evelyn is starting to immediately, trying to make sense of everything. She's like, okay, if this was the entrance, maybe, then this would have been the door, so the beast would have come in this way. No, but that doesn't make sense. There's that wall here. That's obviously an interior wall, so this can't be... And it's really frustrating for her to piece just the footprint of this thing together. It must have been a maze when it was still standing. Emaírel don't know if he has any particular motivation, but he's just kind of randomly, turning over some of the debris, brushing aside some of the ash. And he actually happens to run into a charred metal strongbox, warped by the heat of the fire. The lock is thoroughly fused, though.
Doctor, can you work your nimble fingers on this?
Sounds young, what? Wait, sorry, I was lost in thought a little bit. So yeah, we have those masterwork thieves tools that we appropriated from not so long ago deceased body.
Yeah, but it doesn't take much to realize that the lock is just fused. It's mechanically, no longer working.
Mm-hmm.
Going to need to brute force it open.
Yeah, well, hopefully your driver still has that crowbar that helped me so much yesterday. So...
Oh, you're free to use my shovel if you want.
Oh. Well, don't mind if I do.
Yeah, and Geier kind of takes his weight off it, and the vulture flies off from the sudden movement, and he hands over the.
Yeah, and Arronax tries to disable the device with a shovel.
No, it's not disabled device. Strength check. Because, like I said, the lock is no longer working. You need to muscle it open. Oh, well, that makes a big difference.
Yeah. I didn't take my vitamins today morning. Maybe you, Emaírel?
Let's give it a try.
Gonna need to probably take 20 on it with the help of that crowbar. Is that a thing you can do? Can you take 20 on a strength check?
You can take 20 on ability checks, of course.
Well, I guess that's what we do.
And that gets you to 23 plus the crowbar. Okay, so Emaírel, the doctor hands you the strong box, and you kind of, when he hands it to you, you kind of slump under the weight, surprised by how heavy it is. Thick metal, very, very solid, and you have to put your entire weight into it using the crowbar. But finally, you manage to bend it open just far enough that you can peer inside, and you see a pile of ash. Just pieces of charred paper beyond recognition.
I see. So, strongbox wasn't exactly fire retardant. I see. Good.
And yet,
Could a mending be of help here or something like this?
You can give me a linguistics check.
oh, Evelyn can help with that.
Well, I will let her try then, because I have 0 in linguistics. Oh, although... No, I don't have 0 in linguistics because it's intelligence check, so I have 4 in linguistics, in fact.
That might be higher than me.
But you're not trained in linguistics.
I'm not trained in linguistics.
Yeah, so you don't have the ability to use it.
Okay.
I have a rank in linguistics. Geier will give it a shot.
Okay, so the doctor kind of pours out the charred pieces in the ash, and there's some chunks still in there, like some more intact pieces. And he's trying to, figure out if he could use some mending on it, but he shrugs and says, "Nah, this is beyond any magic. This is clearly destroyed and not just damaged." But yeah, there are some chunks in there. Just a really hard puzzle.
If anyone else wants to keep looking, Evelyn's gonna take 20 to try and figure out what this is, because she has a sneaking suspicion it was burned before the fire.
Okay, that takes 20 minutes or so. So what are the others going to do in the meantime? Help or watch her or do some more exploring?
Well, Arronax will be on a watch out for any haunts that might try to harass them.
I think Emaírel is just going to keep walking around the place trying to spot anything else.
Okay, give me another perception check. Okay.
And before
So-
Geier moves around...
Mhm.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
So that before Geier goes around looking for stuff, he'll turn to his companions and go like, "So, amidst the ash, what exactly are we looking for? 'Cause I just see rubble."
Guy, why don't you go check out those gravestones over there? And Evelyn kind of loosely gestures off.
Oh, yeah, That seems like my area. And Geier limps along and we'll look at the gravestones.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the gravestones have the names of some what were probably patients on them, and also the name of Rada himself. And they all seem to be from pretty much the same time. Carl mentioned 4 months ago. Possible, judging by the vines growing over them, it's possible that seems to be about right.
Right,
Give
so
me a
they buried him
profession.
here and not in grave charge?
Give me a profession, Gravedigger.
Because that's strange.
Yeah, and you get the sense that these are less proper tombstones and more like memorial stones. Like maybe there were no bodies to bury because they had burned entirely. It certainly doesn't look like they are too close together in the way that it's laid out. You don't think that there would have been room to bury that many bodies. In the meantime, Emaírel continues to search the ash and rubble, and eventually finds something. Among all of the debris, there's one just 3 foot wide area that's clear of any rubble. And as you move closer, you see that's in fact a hole in the ground. But before you can investigate further, you hear a sort of eureka from Evelyn, as she figured out several words that appear in multiple places in the documents from the strongbox. And they are Vorkstag and Grind's Chemic Works.
Motherfucker! She exclaims, and it echoes in the wilderness.
Language.
Galton, sorry. I knew it! I knew it! I knew this damn Stag and Grimes. Something going on in there. We gotta get in there.
Yeah, this becomes
What's
more.
happening?
It's just way more coincidence than it should be. In fact, I suspect it's not coincidence at all.
Fine deduction, Doctor. This paper, parchment here, whatever it was, I don't know if it was some receipt or a letter or something, but it mentions Vorkstag and Grimes several times. Look, here. It is what language? Is it all in common?
Yeah.
Okay. Look, here, you can barely make it out, but I'm not making this up. Look at it.
I believe you, Lady Evelyn. But what shall we do about this? Shall we pack our things here and and hurry back to the city, or continue?
We have to get in there and find out what's happening. But what time is it?
It's 4:30 to 5. Sun's low on the horizon, starting to set.
And what time do the shops close?
6.
So we'll get there just as it's closing.
Well,
I don't think they're really gonna
I don't think they're
welcome us in. Yeah.
No, I don't think. I think if we need to go in there, we need to go in by our own methods. And then it has to be admissible evidence, although what the Lepidstadt courts consider to be admissible evidence seems fairly loose, so...
That's why we should have an exit plan.
I mean, I think we should figure out what else is going on here and then just plan on not getting any sleep tonight.
Geier already looked like a walking corpse, so that might not work out too well.
So there is at least this unusual hole over here?
An unusual hole, you say? Yeah, Arronax has this expression on his face that almost resigns to his fate.
Evelyn's gonna put down the pieces of the letter carefully and leave them in the coach and come over to investigate. What have you found?
There's a roughly 3-foot wide hole on the ground, and it's not covered at all. What's left of the day's light falling into it, and as you carefully lean over the edge, look down, you can see for about 15 feet, and it looks like you're looking into the building's cellar, but of course it's damp and dark down there.
Does any of you have any means to produce light, I believe?
I can hand you a torch, but I will not lead it for today.
Oh, I can help you with that. And Geier focuses, and suddenly these eerie lights emanating a ghoulish green glow start floating about him.
Listen,
Geier, have...
I mean,
Go ahead.
yeah. I mean, listen, Geier. I know you have was very keen on unlocking your spellcasting talent, but I mean, are you sure it's healthy for you? You don't really look so good.
Of course it's healthy for him.
It's fine. Look.
A man's got to know his limitations, after all.
Well, if you ever croak over from this, I'll be sure to perform the autopsy. Okay? So don't worry, we'll know for sure what killed you.
Geier, have you ever done that before?
An autopsy?
No, the Geier, the lights.
No, it just suddenly felt like I could.
How did you...
Well, the doctor said he couldn't see, and I felt the glow come out of me.
Evelyn just kind of looks into his eyes very keenly. Just...
This spiritual
Most intriguing.
like worse than my mom. Never mind. So, can you send these things down there?
Let's see. And focusing, the lights descend. Kind of like dropping it, like oozing down almost, like melting.
Mm-hmm. So they like ectoplasm. They move down there and ooze into the shaft, illuminating the surroundings like a torch. Yeah. And as it moves down, you can see that the light is getting reflected by some sort of chain. Apparently there's a candelabrum hanging from the ceiling near the shaft. And as the light wanders down, you see that there are large candles hanging from the candelabrum. No, it's not candles as such, but it looks kind of tallowy. It's palish, sort of pink. Oh my god, it's heads. There are heads spiked on the candelabrum, and they are grotesquely deformed.
Here goes.
The lights kind of go inside some of the skulls, and the light protrudes from the eye sockets and stuff.
So do we see stairs going down, or any way of climbing down?
No, it's just a shaft. The light goes, and if Geier sends the light further down, it'll go down like 15 feet or so, and then it illuminates the packed earth floor of the cellar. There's a pair of large water casks that sits beneath the entrance shaft, so you could lower yourselves down to their level and then climb down like that. It's almost conveniently placed.
Mm-hmm. It's usable, so we can go through that. I was planning on pulling out rope to descend.
You could do that too, but like I said, it's 15 feet, and then there are those casks. So if you lowered yourself from the edge of the hole and then just drop down like 5 feet or so, you would land on the casks.
Emaírel is still going to set up the rope.
Okay. So you look for a more sturdy piece of rubble, a heavy block of stone or crossbeam or something like that, and you tie the rope to it, and then you throw it down into the shaft. Flop.
And I guess he will head down.
And you lower yourself.
Before he goes down, Evelyn will put a hand on his shoulder and she says, "Be careful down there." And she gives him a false flanker.
Okay. Sam, left or right? Just choose. Doesn't really matter.
Right.
Okay. Wrong. Okay, so Emaírel doesn't have all, but the dancing lights are down there, so I'm gonna put.
He does have dark vision right now.
He has dark vision, right? Okay. 60 feet.
Let me double check. 60, yeah.
6 feet. Okay. Perception check, please. Okay. All right. So you lower yourself into the cellar, climbing down the rope. It's not hard. You have the shaft to brace against, and then it's just 5 feet, so you could basically just fall down and still be fine. And you land on your feet on one of those large casks. And you carefully look around the room, and there's something moving down here. And all of a sudden, you feel like you made a grave mistake when you see eyes glisten in the darkness, when from all four corners of the room, creatures start to stir. We'll go into initiative. You're not surprised. So
Would Evelyn have had the chance to tap everyone and give them their mesmerist tricks before this happened?
well, yeah. I mean, she would have had the chance. Would she have done that even if you?
I mean, as we're getting ready to go down a dark, scary hole, she
Yeah,
did it
you're
for
right,
Emaírel,
you're
and
right,
she would
you're
have
right.
turned to everyone.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Okay.
Okay, so everyone else has mask misery right now.
Okay,
Remind me
so
what that did?
You'll find out if you need it.
Okay.
and I will need initiative from everyone. Oh no, I forgot to make.
I forgot to
Yeah,
click my icon.
I didn't make a macro. Crap. Give me a second here. Gonna save some time. Anybody needs to take a quick break, like 2 minutes, that's fine. I just have to set up my macro. I'm sorry I didn't do that in
Okay.
advance. That's
Okay.
all.
Gotta
Be
go
right back
check
then.
on the little goblin real fast then.
I apparently somehow missed that, and I don't know why. Okay. I'm ready when everybody else is.
I'm good.
Okay, sounds like everybody else is gone.
What? That's a lie. I'm not gone. Not anymore.
Good. Is Alejandro back?
Guess not.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but I can add him to the initiative while we're on it. Yeah, it's 6. And somebody else is missing. Emaírel is missing. There he is, 5. Wow. How convenient. Okay, so, I mean, even though Emaírel is not surprised, the ones who are still above ground don't really know that anything's wrong until something happens.
I wanted to ask before we go into this, hit points. I seem to be quite low on them.
Yeah, I wouldn't know where you... I mean,
Well-
you should have recovered anything by now.
You had a full night, well, more or less full night's sleep, so that's your hit dice of hit points, I believe, restored, right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, just checking that.
Okay, and though Evelyn technically won the initiative, she's not going to get to realize that something is wrong until the first thing happens down there, which is that one of those terrible creatures moves out of the shadows and comes charging at Emaírel with its long tongue lashing out and its yellow pointy teeth gnashing, trying to bite you.
Um,
A 9 against your flat-footed AC. So I would assume that's a miss.
yeah. I was trying to think.
You were trying to think?
Would Emaírel, I don't know. Would he have his spear in hand ready as soon as he,
I mean,
as he,
you
as
you
he
were just
landed.
climbing down. I don't think you were holding a two-handed weapon. I think it count as unarmed for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
But what's your reaction? I mean, are you gonna yell out something? How do you react to this?
Oh yeah, he's going to call out, "I'm not alone."
No,
All
you're
right.
not. You're here with us.
I guess that'll give Evelyn enough of a trigger.
Yeah. So she's going to hear that and kind of says to herself, "Sounds intriguing," and she's gonna push to the front of the line. And how much would it take for her to get down the hole?
You could just jump down.
She'll jump down, and
Okay.
she'll just for kicks try to be dexterous about it. And
All right, give me an acrobatics.
yeah, no.
All right, so you fall down, and let's see where you land. The 4 is Emaírel's square. 4, I said. So you land here, and it's a rough landing. As you hit the packed earth, you hear something crack. 6 hit points,
Oof.
and prone, of course.
Excellent.
And as you land on the floor, you pick yourself up, spit out some of the damp earth, and you see those creatures moving in the darkness.
How many do I see?
1 in every corner, and 1 is already attacking Emaírel, so 4 in total.
Okay, nice meeting you guys.
You still have a move action or a standard, because that was just a move action to fall down there.
Evelyn is first of all, she's gonna see what she knows about these things.
Okay, knowledge religion. Well, at first you're thinking ghouls, but those look more deadly and cunning in a way that in the way that they have hidden in the corners, managed to stay away from the light, not to give away their position. That is way too organized for a mere ghoul. So these must be ghast. They are basically smarter, more dangerous ghouls. They're surrounded by a stench of death and corruption, and they are undead. And that's pretty much all you know about them. Oh yeah, you know that they are supposed to. You know what is commonly known about ghouls, that they linger around cemeteries and that they feed on the dead.
Okay. Evelyn's gonna plop down into this hole. Tries to be nimble about it, but it's not an easy thing to do in heels, and she just kind of flops down. She immediately looks up without even like taking time to brush the hair out of her face or anything. She looks up, sees this ghast, and just makes eye contact with it. Bold stares, hypnotic stares it, and begins casting a spell.
All right. Which one was it? The one next to Emaírel?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a will save. At a -2, is that?
Yes.
Correct? It fails, and it starts to babble. Its mouth foaming, its eyes wicked, and it babbles. in a strange tongue.
Okay, so the target becomes nauseated for the next, I guess, 5 rounds,
Mm-hmm.
and
Can they
creatures
become
within.
nauseated? Sorry.
That's a good question, actually.
Yeah, because I would say so in this case, because the nauseated here is not a fortitude save.
It's mind
Undead,
affecting.
yeah, undead are immune to everything that requires a fortitude save, but since Evelyn can influence undead with mind affecting stuff, I think that should count.
Okay. So it babbles, and creatures within 30 feet of it that can hear its babbling must succeed at a will save or become fascinated for as long as the babbling persists.
Okay, creatures, so that includes Emaírel.
That includes Emaírel. And possibly me, depending on how you roll that.
No, I think you're right. That is very much so. You would have to be far away enough to not be fascinated. Okay, and that's a will save against the same DC, probably, yeah. Okay, one of the ghasts seems to be fascinated. Evelyn is not. Emaírel is also fascinated, standing there defenseless, staring at the babbling ghast.
Actually, that ghast in the upper left corner is 35 feet away, so it's not affected at all.
Oh, right. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
That was Evelyn's turn. This ghast moves up towards Emaírel and tries to bite him. Which reminds me to check the fascinated effect, because I would believe that you snap out of it when you take damage.
Yeah. I think it doesn't even have to be damage, it just has to be threatening.
To become
Yeah,
fascinated.
any potential threat, such as a hostile creature approaching. And you say
Okay, well then that is obvious. So you're no longer fascinated.
No, it's just a new saving
Oh, a
throw.
new saving throw. Okay, we'll save. Continue to be fascinated, and well, I would rule
Oh,
that.
no, wait. It's a potential threat allows a new saving throw. An obvious threat breaks the effect, such as someone
Okay.
drawing a weapon or aiming a ranged
Okay, yeah,
weapon.
then it clearly breaks the effect, because this thing is charging you and trying to bite you with its foul mouth. 16 to hit, flat-footed.
Does land.
5 points of damage, and I will need a fortitude save. And then I will need another fortitude save. Alright. Doctor.
Okay, at this point, Doctor will consume his Constitution mutagen. I need to check if consuming mutagen is a standard action, I believe.
I would think so.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that would be +4 and -2 to my charisma. His skin will gain once again a somewhat coppery tint to it as his muscle becomes dense and much more compacted. And okay, let's roll for my unstable mutagen. Well, okay, hopefully it won't last that long anyway.
Okay, you done?
And he also jumps in.
Okay, acrobatics. Acrobatics. There it is.
Acrobatics.
Mm-hmm. And it's so close that I need to check real quick. Huh? Ah, there it is. Okay, yeah. Alright. Ignore the first 10 feet, and then the 5 are not enough to damage. Okay. So you land on that cask down here. On your feet.
Mm-hmm. Can I...
But
Uh,
the next second, Ghast charges you from behind,
okay.
trying to bite you. 22 for 7 points of damage.
Yeah, that would do it.
And I will need a fortitude save.
One second, I will add my temporary hit points from my enhanced constitution. That would be 10, right? From 2 hit points per level. And I have 5 levels. So that would be -7, and they would be reduced from my new temporary hit points.
But if you give yourself a temporary bonus to con, the hit points should update automatically.
They don't seem to update automatically.
Yeah, maybe you can figure it out between turns, but now I'll just need a fortitude save.
Very well. Fortitude.
Okay, and another one.
Ghoul fever is fun.
Alright, and the doctor gets bitten by the ghast, and at first Arronax grimaces in pain, but then he sort of freezes as he gets paralyzed by the attack. Okay. That was your turn. The next cast will be... Wait. Oh, whoops.
Isn't one of them fascinated?
No.
They're fascinating.
No. None of them were.
None of them failed their will save?
Nope. The only one that failed was the one that wasn't with reach.
Okay.
It was 26, 9, and 27. So the other one comes running towards Evelyn and almost throws himself on her as he dives in to bite her. 20 for 6 points of damage.
Yeah, that'll hit.
And a fortitude save.
It's actually a 19.
Okay, and another fortitude save. Okay. Geier.
Is there any way for Geier to descend himself?
Yeah, you could drop down to that square if you would, or you could climb down the rope, or you could just jump.
No, Geier is not jumping.
Okay, so
He's
you,
like muttering, going like, bloody hell, everybody going down. I'll end up in a hole. No need to hurry the process.
okay?
Climb down.
Give me a climb check.
Oh god, this is gonna be terrible. He's gonna fall.
You make no progress, but at least you can keep yourself from falling.
It's just hanging there, feet shaking. Oh shit!
You still have another move action if you want to.
Can he try to lower himself a bit more?
With another climb check?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's mumbling and grumbling and cursing and it's a devil.
and just
Oh,
falls.
shit! I knew that was gonna happen.
And that's 3 points of damage as you hit one of those squares. Oh, actually, you hit the right one, and you fall prone right in front of the ghast. Boom. On your back in the dirt.
The vulture is just circling overhead. Maybe it's gonna eat me.
Emaírel,
We'll try. First, we'll try to recall whatever he can about these things.
okay, knowledge religion.
Now,
Yeah, you know pretty much what I already told Evelyn. They're like more vicious ghouls.
all right. So I guess he's going to take a move action to wield to retrieve his spear properly,
Okay.
and then he's going to stab this guy.
Okay. Okay.
For how long am I paralyzed, by the way?
You'll see.
That's actually a 22. I messed up my roll.
Okay, that's still enough though, even though he has a little bit cover from the paralyzed doctor, but it's enough for 11 points of damage. So you sink your spear into the ghast, and it gurgles. Foul black ichor seeping from the wound, but you pull the spear back out, and it growls at you. Apparently not destroyed yet. And then the babbling ghast's turn comes up. Does it get a new save?
Nope, it just continues to be nauseated for the remainder
For
of
the
the
entire
duration.
duration. Alright, so it's gonna babble and wander aimlessly, I would say. As a move action, babble, babble, babble.
Would that movement provoke?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And that's a hit for 8 points of damage.
And I'm gonna add another 2 onto that because I'm gazing at it,
Alright.
staring at it.
Okay. That's another 2. That was that. Evelyn, your turn.
Okay. Evelyn's gonna. Let's see. If I move, I'm gonna provoke. If I stand up, I'm gonna provoke. If I cast a spell, I'm gonna provoke. So.
Yeah, but you can cast defensively. That's the only thing that you can avoid taking an attack of opportunity.
That's true. I'm going to try to cast defensively then, which requires what?
Concentration check.
I don't think I've ever actually done one of these.
Okay, I can tell you your modifier, which is your caster level plus your ability modifier for casting, plus any potential feat, but I assume you don't have the...
No.
Okay, so that will just be your caster level plus the modifier.
Okay, so I guess that makes it 9.
Yeah, sounds about right.
That's not enough, is it? Or wait, what is the? It's a first level spell that I'm casting.
And then that may be barely enough. I think it's 15 plus twice the spell level, but I'm gonna have to check. Concentration, casting defensively, 15 plus double the spell level. Yes. Okay, so you just barely managed to avoid attack
Didn't I
while
fail?
finishing the spell. Nope, you did not fail.
But
16 is exactly on.
Wouldn't that be 17?
yeah,
Oh, plus twice the level of the spell. Yeah, you're right. You just missed it. Any temporary bonus that you forgot to put in there? No.
Near.
well.
Okay,
I mean,
so
she's casting prone, so
Yeah.
Does that change anything? I don't think
I
so.
don't know. It's
Nope.
circumstantial bonus.
The spell just fizzles then.
Okay, so I lose the spell slot.
Yes, but you do have the move action left.
Okay. Shit. Retrieving a wand will provoke an attack. I'm gonna at least get on my feet, which is gonna provoke an attack.
Yeah, and it's gonna try to claw at you. 13.
Yeah, 13's a miss. If that's
Alright.
actually okay, yeah, 13 is a miss.
Okay.
On my feet. And I'm gonna switch my gaze over to the one that's right in front of me.
Okay. Okay. The ghast in front of Geier is gonna jump him, trying to bite and claw Geier.
I don't look very appetizing. Why?
What's your AC?
It's not great. 11.
Okay, so all 3 attacks hit. So let's do one at a time. 6 points of damage
Alright.
and 2 fortitude saves.
2 fortitude save.
Shouldn't the attack that's a 9 miss?
No, because he's prone.
Oh, right.
Okay. Then 8 points of damage and another fortitude save.
Should not have come down here.
And you are paralyzed. Which means the last one is also hit for 9 points of damage, and I won't need another save.
For how many points of damage was the last one? Sorry.
9. Okay. Doctor is still paralyzed. Nothing you can do. This gas down here is going to try and attack Evelyn. What is your AC, Evelyn?
1 second. 16.
Okay, so all 3 attacks hit once again, one at a time. 7 points of damage and a fortitude save. Okay, another fortitude save. And you're paralyzed. And then that's 13 points of damage on top of that.
Yikes.
Maybe
yeah.
it's time to bust out those hero cards.
Wait, no, that's the wrong. I was going for it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, oops. So the doctor is paralyzed, and there's a ghast in front of him, and yes, that's just the way they hunt. It's gonna coup de grace the doctor.
That would provoke from Emaárel, I believe.
It's
Oh,
it
it
is a full
would.
round action, yeah. I suppose.
It would indeed. Yeah, it
Which-
definitely would. So go ahead, Emaárel, because the ghast can't control its hunger.
It's very hungry.
Okay, question. Emaárel has used power attacks on the previous
Yeah,
attacks.
it's active for a round. So if you had it on your turn, it'll be active on the attack of opportunity.
Okay.
This is an important roll. I'm just saying that.
Yeah. Okay, give me just 1 second to double check. You can. No, I can't use it. Okay. Well, here goes.
$13, really?
I don't have anything else I can use.
No hero card that might help here?
I'm trying to read up on hero cards right now. We can't use them on other players, can we?
Well, it says you can force a creature for Mai, so I
I
don't
think
know.
it specifically said you can use and pool.
Really now. Can we still use hero cards if we are paralyzed?
Sure, unless it contradicts the paralyzed condition.
I'm gonna if I can apply my card to Emaírel, I will right now. My crowns card.
Emaírel has a hammer, which he can use after the fact to get a +4 to the roll.
You think a 17's enough to hit it?
I don't know.
I can use my crowns card so that you re-roll it completely.
I guess, yeah.
And then you can apply your apply your card on top of that.
Yeah, and in this case I'll be applying it before the roll.
Right.
So, Simon, does that work?
That does work. Okay, so both of you discard your cards, and then you get to re-roll with the bonus.
Okay, well, I'll roll and not see that afterwards. +8, so 23.
Okay, that is a hit, and that hits, pierces the evil creature's skull, brain and all, and it hangs limp from your spear as you shake it off, and it falls onto the damp floor.
How to discard the card?
I think if you just pull it onto the playing area, I can safely
Yeah.
delete it.
Okay.
Okay, Geier is paralyzed and prone, and then it's Emaírel's regular turn.
Oh, he doesn't even get a save?
No.
Shit.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah, so Emaírel is going to step this way. And he
Kind of
is
hops
gonna-
off the cask.
Yeah.
So as he shit. Fuck. Okay. Evelyn's gonna activate the false flanker. So I believe she can do that even while paralyzed.
I think it says something about mental actions, yeah.
Yeah. So another version of Evelyn appears, flanking the ghoul.
In fact, I think
Oh,
you can actually spellcast your normal spells while paralyzed because it's psychic spells and you don't have to move anything.
Oh my god, can I?
If it's purely mental, then yes.
Oh my god, yes!
Yeah,
Please!
there's no somatic and no verbal components.
Yeah.
Sounds good, okay, but right now it's
I
Emaírel's
activate-
turn.
Yeah, I activate false flanker
Nice,
as he
okay.
moves into that.
So Emaírel is going to spend a swift action and expend 1 point of divination focus to gain an insight bonus on the attack roll that he's going to perform right now.
Okay. Nice.
That's
Yes!
Oh,
Yes. Oh my god.
and
Is
it's
it
against-
possibly confirmed?
It does get a +2 from flanking, but I don't think 13 is going to do it.
I think that's in there already. Okay, so it's not confirmed, but it nevertheless it definitely hurts the gas and it definitely marks you as a threat. So it lets off Geier for now, and while the other one continues to babble and roam and pace up and down, which gives Emaírel another attack opportunity.
Wait, can Emaírel take attack opportunity? Oh,
Yeah, he has combat reflexes.
It's a new round also. So yeah.
Yeah, and he has combat reflexes anyway. Okay, that's a miss though. So it just kind of paces the basement, rambling on. Evelyn, your bud?
Okay, this is awesome. Evelyn's standing there, staring this thing down. Her eyes are locked on it. She's frozen in place, and she's just gonna will it to be as frozen in place as she is. She's gonna try to oppressive boredom it.
What? So the stair's already on him, so he takes a -2, correct?
Correct.
Okay, that will be already in there.
So she's gonna have to hold on. She has to defensively cast, or can she even? What's even happening?
Yeah, normally you would provoke, but since you're not moving,
I mean, it's still
Yeah.
casting a spell.
You should
Still has to
see.
create an open. I don't know.
Yeah, it's still. I mean, it's kind of weird, but they do provoke, even occult or psychic spells
Yep.
provoke. So that's gonna happen first. The concentration check.
I mean, it passed anyway, but
Yeah, but we'll see. Just so that it becomes muscle memory.
wow.
So yeah,
Wow.
it is hard to trade well. While you're paralyzed.
Wait.
I'm going to.
Stop.
Okay.
Since I have my own hero card, I would like to try to use it on Lady Evelyn.
Okay.
No, wait, stop! I can't.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It says it says that I can reroll one d20 rolls and I can force a creature.
Well,
to
That's okay. You can.
that's
you
what
can
I had
play
as
it.
well.
You can play it. That's all right. You can play it for another player, basically handing it to another player, and then that player plays it for themselves.
Then?
Okay, hold on. Don't use it right now, because all I'm gonna do is roll my concentration check again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, technically, we should have waited to see if the thing succeeded or failed, but I'm gonna use my next tarot card to gain another standard action on my turn.
Okay, wait. So who's playing first? Who's playing theirs first?
I should play mine first, because
Okay.
all that's gonna do is let me re-roll my concentration check, which isn't gonna help anything. So
Okay, so you're gonna play.
I need to play my hero card to get another standard action.
Okay, so play it.
I'm going to attempt to cast Oppressive Boredom again.
Using the sickness. Okay. So another concentration check.
There we
And
go.
You concentrate successfully.
Kidding me?
Okay. Now I will use my hero card to force him to reroll the saving throw.
What the? Bullshit.
Bastard.
Oh man, okay. So the cards are just not in your favor. And it resists the spell. The gas
On
over here.
3 separate occasions.
Yeah. This gas over here takes a step forward and full attacks Emaírel. And critically hitting him for 12
Oh my
points.
god.
12 points of damage for Emaírel. And a fortitude save.
Okay, so Emaírel is going to use an immediate action
Mm-hmm.
to grant himself a bonus on this saving throw. That's a +3.
Okay, so that's okay, but it's a critical hit, so I'm gonna draw a card.
You monster.
It's a double 20 even.
What is up with these things?
Don't you have to actually confirm the confirmation for the card? I think because
Isn't that only with fumbles? That's only with fumbles. So we have a natural attack. I can't read that. Slashing,
Blow it
piercing.
up.
well,
You can,
enhance
yeah,
it,
you
yeah.
can Z.
Yeah, I have problems with the red on.
Which
background.
one? What type of damage is it?
It's bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing because it's a bite attack. So I
Oh,
guess
well,
any I could choose any of these, but bludgeoning doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. Oh, it does actually. No, you're not wearing a shield. Double damage and
No.
ignore DR. Double damage and 1d2 strength damage. Okay, so it bites you, and you bites off a good chunk of your muscle mass, and you take 1 point of strength damage. I'll need another fortitude save then. Okay. And then the other two attacks miss, I would assume.
Yeah.
Although Emaírel is an elf, I suppose, so he can't get paralyzed, right?
Well, maybe he can.
Ah,
They were not ghouls, they're ghosts.
yeah.
And the doctor is second round of paralysis. And you can finally feel your toes again.
Does this is very nice. In that case, he doctor will make use of this, and he will stand tall, crack his spine, say, "Ah, my God, sweet Jesus!" Sweet Pharasma, I mean. And he will toss a bomb at this very bad ghast that assaults Emaírel right now. And of course he will use his bombing expertise to exclude both Emaírel and Geier from the splash damage.
Okay.
Okay. Your call. And of course that explodes the ghast into bits. Blows it to pieces.
And
But
do I still have a move action, right?
yeah, sure, you still have a move action.
Yeah, in that case, Arronax will take a move quite a bit far away from into the corner.
Oh, that's even worse.
Great. Okay.
So the ghast in front of Evelyn, single-mindedly driven by its feral instincts, coup de grasses Evelyn.
Oh crap! I'm not in. I'm not in.
You're not in range. The doctor chose not to distract that one. So that will be 2d6 plus 6. And if that doesn't kill you, we'll see. 11 points of damage.
What is it? Equal to my con modifier?
No, equal to your negative con. So it had.
Oh, my negative con.
Yeah. So you're at how many hit points right now?
-9.
Okay, so you're not technically dead yet, but since it's a coup de grace, you, in addition to surviving, need to survive a fortitude save, which will be a DC 21 at this point.
Okay.
Oh wow. Well,
Yep. Nope.
wait. Let's see the other cards that we have.
Well, unless you can make him re-roll that fortitude save, I don't think you can bring it up to 21.
Well, shit.
Any cards for re-rolling?
Well, I had one. I feel bad if Evelyn now if Evelyn now dies, it will be the second Comrade in Arms that kinda sorta died because of Arronax.
Hey, in that case, the ghoul just savages Evelyn, and he dives right in, ripping her open, her neck open, and feasting on her blood.
Jesus.
Oh my
Wait,
god.
wait. Uh, just a second, I still need to check this one. Where's the link? Link is slow. Does anyone have the Harrow cards page open?
Yes, I do.
Can you see the Teamster is what the alignment?
While you're at it, can you check?
It's a neutral card of Constitution.
Neutral.
Oh no, never mind.
Yeah, that does not help.
I don't know. My Harrow cards don't help either.
What are your hero cards, Alejandro?
I have. 1 second, I have it right here. It is the Owl.
Which
So,
is
one-time insight into the future. A spell augury.
what suit is it?
Oh, the Owl is a neutral card of wisdom.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And the other one? Hello? I can't hear you for some reason.
Hello?
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah.
What was the other card?
The last one is the Uprising, and
Mhm.
it gives a +1 bonus on attack and damage rolls.
What suit is that?
It's a hammer. Can't remember what that suit was.
It's strength.
Hammers.
Strength.
Okay. That is the strength.
Yeah.
And alignment?
I don't have that with me. Like, I only have
Okay.
the
Chaotic
alignment
neutral.
stuff.
Chaotic neutral. Rage.
Does anyone have a lawful evil card?
Nope.
We only have the 3 cards left.
Well, Simon holds all the cards.
Well, then I guess that is that. So the gas savages Evelyn. Yeah, just drinking her blood and eating her flesh. Geier is still paralyzed. Emaírel, your turn.
Emaírel is going to try and finish off this guy.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Nope.
What you have to confirm? The fumble?
Yep. Uh, a 10.
That is a miss. So
I draw from the critical fumble.
I drew one for you. So what happens is you used a melee weapon. Parry, dodge, spin, thrust. You're dazed for a round.
This is just a penalty, right? Or is it the one where you drop?
That would be dazzled. I think dazed is that you can't take actions for a round.
Okay.
The guest over here continues to babble and pace. And paces towards the doctor. Evelyn is dead. The gas down here is destroyed. Doctor, your turn.
Well, Doctor is rather shocked by the proceedings, but he in here really wants to bomb this one, but well, the guy who just savaged his companion, but this one advances right at him, so well, it becomes priority to survive. And
Versus touch. That's a miss. So they get a reflex, or it gets a reflex save, which it fails. So it takes the full
a splash
7
damage, which is yes, it will be 7.
7 points of damage, and it lets go of Evelyn's lifeless body, or what's left of it, and turns toward the doctor. And just with its feral instincts moves towards him. Emaírel being dazed, they can't take an attack of opportunity. And he tries to bite the doctor. 24 is a hit for 7 points of damage, and I will need a fortitude save. And another fortitude save. Okay. Geier, you're no longer paralyzed.
Oh,
And your turn.
okay. So, Geier will stand up,
Okay.
and during paralysis, was Geier aware of what was going on, or was it just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
blacked out? Okay,
Yeah.
so like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
So basically, you watched Evelyn get mauled and
Right
and
beside
ripped
me.
apart right in front of you, with you unable to do anything, just having to watch, and couldn't even turn away, can't close your eyes.
Yeah, that was gruesome. But this might be a bit more gruesome. I don't know if to add insult to injury, but
Are you going to animate her as a
as a grasping corpse. So Geier will turn towards Evelyn and go like, "No, you're not dead. You're not dead. Get up and get that ghoul." And yeah, he will cast grasping corpse.
Oh God! And Evelyn, dead body, sort of pushes herself up from the floor. You can see the blood that has already soaked into the soil drip, and like just stick to her body, to her neck, and she shambles, pulling herself forward over to the ghoul that's slaughtered her, and tries to grapple him. So you against the chosen UCMB for this combat is equal to your caster level plus your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. So in your case, charisma. So
Grapple, yeah.
grapple, okay. CMB
It is
D20 plus your caster level plus charisma.
CMB is +4.
No. Your CMB for this particular combat maneuver, because you're not doing it yourself. You roll a d20, you add your caster level, and you add your charisma.
Caster level is 3. Oh, sorry. Roll 1d20 plus 3 and charisma.
No, your caster level should be 5.
Oh yeah, because I'm level 5. I just thought like caster level was because I can cast level 3.
No. Caster level is
Level 2 spell, sorry.
level of your spellcasting class.
Okay. So it's fun.
20. That's enough. So, dead Evelyn grapples the ghast successfully. Well, I'm not sure if that's really helpful. Because probably everybody should make a will save at this. Emaírel, you're no longer dazed. The round is over.
Well, I guess he is going to move and attack this guy.
Okay.
And spend the swift action to gain a bonus on the roll.
Okay. Plus he's grappled. Yeah, that's a hit. 8 points of damage is enough to finish him off. And as he goes down, Evelyn's corpse slumps down with him. Once again, lifeless. The babbling one, he's just wandering around, defending himself pitifully, and sooner or later you're gonna stab him down. So you emerge from this horrible fight victorious, but at what cost?
Speaking of the... Well, okay, I
just
have an
lost our
idea. It's okay. It might be alright. We can still fix it. I can fix it. Why are you looking at me like
no.
this?
Wait, you moved. And Geier starts going towards Evelyn, but realizes right away that no, that was not real life that animated her. Oh,
So, okay, how much money Evelyn had left from in her coffers?
How does it affect your immediate actions? Because, I mean, what's your plan to fix this?
Immediate action for Geier will be to tend to Evelyn's body. Like, he mechanically starts, tidying up the wounds. Not dressing them, but do wrapping bit of bandage around it just to hide the damage. And
Okay.
just attending to the corpse as he would normally otherwise. With a different kind of detachment. It's not often that he gets to bury somebody he knows.
Although, as of late, it seems to become his kind of profession.
Yeah, but Karnas, you said that you want to fix this, so how do you want to fix this? Because, I mean, you don't have time to counter coins.
Well, yes, I actually... out of character, I was thinking maybe we could use Evelyn's funds to pay for her resurrection, if she still hasn't had enough. But
It might be worth talking to the coach driver or one of the maids.
yeah. But at this point, Arronax is very much shaken himself, so he mostly babbles to himself that, well, maybe this time we actually can do something, so it won't be like Crow again. It won't be now.
Okay, I thought that you had.
No, unfortunately, I don't have anything that could resurrect people right away. So
Okay.
I do have cure moderate wounds, but, well, it's too late.
I can command undead.
Well, it's
Too
too
soon.
late again, I'm afraid.
Too late or too soon.
Although if she raises up against us, angry that we let her die, maybe it can come in handy. So yeah, Arronax will then help Geier to cover the wounds of their fallen friends.
No, Geier will shush him off. Go away.
Okay.
I got this. Just find us a way to get back up.
Well, I mean,
I am not climbing the bloody rope.
very well. In that case, we will assess this crypt. And
It's not a crypt. It's a cellar of
it is a crypt.
the hospital. Yeah, I guess it kind of got turned into one. So it's a mess. There are the remains of what probably was the doctor's workshop have been flung about and otherwise thrown into disarray. And there's, of course, this monstrosity dangling on the chains from the iron candelabrum.
I don't suppose we can recognize any of these people.
All right, you can give me a perception check. Okay. So Emaírel climbs one of the casts on the doctor, the other, and you rotate the candelabrum, going from one of the heads to the next one. They're all pretty badly charred, and Doctor, you don't even really see anything that would help you recognize someone in particular. But Emaírel, you notice that all of these heads have clear physical deformities, except one.
Deformities like
They were mutants.
Yeah. But one does not.
Well, we weren't described how the good doctor looked like, right?
No, the doctor created the beast, that's for sure.
Well, he certainly created some of the beasts right here, I see.
Well, you're a doctor, you should know. The first try never succeeds. These are all the failed experiments, all the catastrophes, all the lives that he took just for his own sick research. And now it's claimed yet another one. And probably a third, because Without Lady Evelyn,
We will
beast,
fix
the
it.
beast is going to die.
We will fix it, Geier. As you said it, without Lady Evelyn, beast will die.
Yeah.
We
They
will.
were hardly willing to listen to us with an actual lawyer in front of us. Do you think they're going to listen to you or me?
Well,
We could provide all the evidence. Not going to matter one bit. So, I say we stop with this charade of theirs and break the beast out.
no, we.
If they're not playing by the law, then neither should we.
We need to take her to the Pharasman Temple. Listen, it's not too late. It can be too late. I mean, she's been dead for less than 5 minutes.
By the time we get her up out of this hole and back to Lepidstadt.
Well,
Simon, should we maybe stop the session here while we figure out how to deal with all this?
I guess that's a good idea. Tough.
oh yeah. I'm really
The one
sorry.
fight I could have been useful, and I was paralyzed.
Yeah, why did you jump in there? You're
I don't
a
know, I
frail. You're
I
a
wanted
frail
to
sorcerer.
climb down.
Yeah, but no. But why even get down there? All of your spells are, or you have so many ranged options. You're super frail.
I would have thought I would not be able to cast them from up there.
Why not?
Well,
Because
it's
it's
a
a
hole.
hole and I couldn't see anything.
Why would you not be able to see anything?
I figured I could just see the bottom of the hole,
Well,
not the chamber itself.
Yeah.
well, I mean, there.
I did think of that. My idea was initially to stay up there and grump
Okay.
and whine, but then I figured it would be completely useless because I could just see what's directly below the hole, and there wasn't anything there.
And
Yeah, you would have been mostly confined to what's directly below the hole, but you could have, a little bit further. But
That's why he grumpily climbed down. Well,
yeah,
down.
well, but I mean, what really killed her was the doctor's decision to go for the other ghast across the room.
Well, I mean, I didn't actually see the hit points that until I actually moved, and after that I was holy shit, she's in 1 hit point. No.
I mean, it's a ghast. They always do coup de grace on paralyzed, so the hit points didn't even really matter, even if she had full hit points. The fortitude save is what kills you.
That was.
Yeah. I wonder how the doctor's going to deal with that, though.
Yeah, that was bad decision.
Because remember the last time we were in a similar situation, Crow saved the doctor
Yeah.
by making what turned out to be the wrong call for him, I guess. And now the doctor is sort of responsible for the death of Evelyn by making the wrong call for her.
Yeah. Well, can we actually afford to resurrect her?
We
have
need
no money.
we need 5,000 GP.
Well, yeah.
We could. If Emaírel sold basically everything he had, he'd scrounge up 4,000 and something GP.
Geier doesn't have any money, not that I think of. All that he had was spent on holy water in Harrowstone.
Yeah. And I have. Well,
But
I
you
have-
you all got your stipend in Lepidstadt. So what did you do with that money that you got in Lepidstadt?
we actually didn't do anything. I still have 100 platinum coins.
Yeah. So also Geier should have that too if he did spend it.
Yeah, no, I've not spent it on anything.
So,
shopping.
as a matter of fact, we actually.
Well,
might
now what
afford-
we need to ask ourselves is, did we like Evelyn that much?
And does Evelyn
I'm
actually
joking,
want to come
I'm
back?
joking.
Does Evelyn actually want to come back? That's the more
Well-
important question.
We'll get there when we get there.
And also, do we still want to be adventurers?
Existential crisis.
We
Yeah.
should go back to our day jobs.
Maybe just share a nice cell with the beast.
Yeah. Well,
Anthony, are you still with us? You've been awfully quiet.
I was doing some dishes.
I'm sorry.
yeah, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you guys what you do with the coin.
I mean, and we can fix. I'm saying we can fix it.
So yeah, how much would you find in the ladies' coffers, or would you have made arrangements with the servants or anything?
I mean, a lot of that's going to be up to you, Simon, because she does have some gold, but she doesn't. I mean, you can't bring a character in and just say they have 5,000 gold laying around because they're rich. So,
No, of course.
Of course you can.
No,
she
yeah.
in her coin purse at the moment, she had 100 platinum pieces, 626 gold pieces, 2 silver, and 9 copper, if you count it all up.
So 1.6 basically, and
So basically,
Emaírel can find 4 point something. So you would have the money.
yeah, and I have 400 gold pieces as well, in addition to my
Question
platinum.
is, the question is Evelyn made any arrangements with her servants, like, because she would strike me as someone who would plan ahead for all eventualities, especially if she sets out into danger, or is that not how she would deal with it? I mean, not to like have any contingency plans, but just to tell the servants, like, in case something happens to me, bury me at my favorite place, or do everything you can to bring me back, something like that.
I think yes and no. She was so self-confident that it didn't even occur to her she would die.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
And but on the other hand, she has conditioned her servants very well over the years. So they
Yeah, I
would
wonder.
probably
Yeah.
they would. I would think that they would be inclined to try and save her by any means necessary.
Okay.
We still need to figure out how to get, the corpse and ourselves out of the hole.
Yeah.
And
Well,
how
that's
to play all of this while still trying to make the trial.
Well,
Because I don't know if we'll find a priest that has the spell prepared.
Well, we will have to wake up a lot of priests, I guess.
What is the spell again?
Well, raise dead. It's 5th level
Yeah.
spell. Or we can reincarnate her if we find a way to do it. Reincarnation is even cheaper.
Isn't
I think.
Yeah, okay, yeah, reincarnation is cheaper, but okay, so it's 5,000 gold pieces, and she gains 2 permanent negative levels when raised.
Well, they go away eventually, though. I think, no?
Or you can remove them with the restoration.
Oh, okay.
But that's an extra 1,000 GP, I think.
But, well, that can wait at least, so she'll be alive.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll say that I, as a player, would like to keep playing her, but you know,
I mean, we will fix her. We, and if
Yeah, we can do
if
like
magic,
a weekend at Bernie's kind of thing.
yeah, and if magic doesn't help us, we will turn to science.
Turn her into a kind of puppet and take her to the trial, and we can like throw voice.
yeah, I don't think you're gonna get her back for the trial. Is the main thing.
Oh, absolutely not. That trial is done.
That trial, it was turning in our favor, and I don't think
Yeah.
it's
See,
I don't
that's
think it's
why,
gonna work anymore.
That's why I knew we need to have a backup plan. Breaking the beast out of prison.
Well, shit. I guess I'll have to now. One of us will have to find some potions of Eagle Splendor or something, and
I don't think they'll allow that. That's magic.
I mean, theoretically, if you were to like chase back to Lippstadt, bang on the cathedral door,
well, that
ask them to prepare raise dead the next morning.
well, that's
you could
actually
get
what
it all done.
Arronax plans on doing. Actually, so
So you could
wait,
get all of that done.
Geier
but-
knows the priest.
well, Father Grimgar is really far away.
No. Because Geier used to work in Gravechurch. So they weren't like on buddy terms. Geier was just the help, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah. So it would be possible to bring her back before the trial if you put some serious effort into it.
Well, Arronax is very much inclined to put serious effort into this because, well, he kind of at fault here, so and he will take it.
Okay.
He takes it rather hard on himself.
I'll need to look into how much I think that will cost you, not just in terms of coin, but just generally, because of course that's going to take up a lot of your time, which we won't have to do some research and investigating. Yeah, so we'll figure that out until next time.